Hey everyone, welcome to the Vince segment. I'm your host for today, Vince. These are just midweek segments we're gonna upload on Wednesdays, and it's gonna alternate week to week. For instance, Al, he went last week. He started us off real strong. If you haven't checked out his segment, please do. He's such a great speaker, and he's such an advocate for this channel. Um, the guy's great, and his words sometimes, let's face it, most of the time, they're so much more powerful than mine. So I would strongly suggest you check out his midweek segment. It's pretty good, but not only that, he also introduces to the audience how these midweek segments are gonna work. So go check them out. For me, I'm gonna jump right on in. One thing we advertise about our channel is that we're a sneaker channel. That's 100% true. Uh, Along with the many other things that we talk about, sneakers it's a big part of Al and I's life. Um, I don't I, to me, I don't feel like we've talked about it enough. So I have a lot of crazy stories about sneakers. Some you won't believe, some you will. But a lot of them are just down to earth stories, and that's what I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share three stories with you. I'm going to share you two for sure, but if I'm doing good on time, I'll share you a third. If not, that third story will come eventually. So I'm gonna start right off. Do you guys remember Reebok Zigs? And if you guys are not into sneakers, no worries. This is still a good story. So hear me out. Um, for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna talk to you as if you do know, but just to get your foot on the ground. A Reebok Zig, it's my they were really popular in 2010, 2011. It was Reebok's kind of big comeback because they did a lot of 80s and 90s where like trends, but then this was like their big 2000 generation push. It was a black shoe with an accent color sole, and the sole it looked like a 4-year-old zigzag design. It's something I couldn't explain. It was something really cool. In 2010, I moved to where I currently live, and the town it's considered to be extremely materialistic. So I remember uh, I had a friend. It was not Al, but I had a friend, and he got a pair of Zigs. And I came home and told my parents, like, no way, he has a pair of Zigs. Next, tomorrow Al's gonna get a pair of Zigs. Mom, Dad, I would love a pair of Reebok Zigs. They didn't even know what a Zig was. They were so confused. And I expressed to them that yeah, I know this town is very materialistic. With North Faces and iPods, all that for a kid that's only in fourth grade, because I was in fourth grade at the time. But what they found interesting is, sweetie, you just want this because everyone else has it. And at the time, I was like, yeah, sure, I understand. But that's not where the story goes. The story goes is this. So an entire year went by, and no one was wearing Zigs anymore. Just nobody was wearing them. It was a lot of like the Nike free runs at the time. And I went up to my parents, this was a year later, fifth grade now, and I said, Mom, Dad, I really want a pair of Zigs. And they said, you're still talking about those? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, I thought you told us that no one's wearing them. And I said, exactly. I said, I don't want to be like everyone else. I wanted the Zigs when they came out because I liked the design. I never wanted them because everyone else had them. I think that shocked them. You know, Coming from a fifth grade boy who, quite frankly, doesn't know what he wants, doesn't know what to spend his birthday and Christmas money on, um, and he wants to stand out and not just roll with the big boys. He just wants to be his own person and have his own sense of style. I think that shocked them. Uh, so they said, "Okay, honey. Well, we'll look into it." They ended up. My parents are not cheap by any means, but $100 for a pair of shoes, That's a lot of money. We're not talking Jordans or anything crazy. This is just a Reebok shoe. A Reebok running or basketball, whatever shoe. It's just a shoe for $100. That was unheard of to my parents, especially for a fifth grader that's just going to outgrow them. My parents said, honey, maybe for Christmas. I said, yeah, I'm down with that. That sounds good. What a great Christmas present. Christmas rolls around, and wouldn't you know it, I ended up asking for an iPod instead. Keep in mind, though, I never forgot about my Zigs. Um, you know, I'm fortunate to get anything for Christmas. Anything. I don't expect anything either. It's just, an iPod is what I wanted. And quite frankly, I ended up getting it at another holiday that was not Christmas, and I couldn't have been more happy. Long story short, about a whole other year goes by. This is sixth grade now. And I told my parents, guys, I know last time, I brought up the Zigs and I said they were really expensive. How about I pitch in half? I can't express this to you guys enough. My parents were astonished. At this point, I think they just felt bad. I think they're like, oh my gosh, he still really wants these shoes. No one's wearing them at this point. I'm just gonna outgrow them. So what was my attachment to them? I just really liked the design. I you know, I tried so hard to make every fashion be my own. I always try to match and color coordinate my outfits perfectly. Match like the Nike Elites with whatever shoes and shirt you have on. Like I actually tried. And I thought those Zigs were that missing, you know, piece to my collection to make my outfit just really be perfect. My parents were like, you know what? We're gonna go get you a pair of Zigs. They said, we'll see how much they are, and depending on how much they are, yeah, you'll have to pay for half. I was elated. I mean, I was so happy. I was gonna get them. I was going to get them. So we went up to my local finish line. I'm never gonna forget it. And we went in, and um, it was because once again at this time the Zigs were not popular. It was buy one for 100, get one free. So essentially they were $50 each. Well, referring back to what I was saying before, my parents said they would pay half, I would pay half, and at the time they were 100, so I saved up for 50 anyway, so I can actually get two pairs. See, sometimes waiting it just all works out for you. I get two pairs of Zigs. Are you kidding me? So I loved, not as much anymore, but I loved the Philadelphia Eagles. I had all types of Philadelphia Eagles jerseys. I was an Eagles kid. I really was. And there was a green and white pair. It was more like New York Jets colors, but it was still I'm like I can wear my Eagles outfit. Are you kidding me? And that gleam in my eye, my parents like, there's no way we can not get these for him. And I remember grabbing them off the shelf, and they had my size, but it was in one size bigger than what my foot was. That was that. My parents were like, oh, okay, we're not gonna get them. We'll go somewhere else. But I told them I love this shoe so much. So they said, okay, we'll come back to this in a minute. Pick out another pair of Zigs you like. Picked out another pair that I loved. They were the John Wall collaboration. They were black and gray, and I play basketball. So those were going to be my basketball shoes. And the guy at the counter said, we actually have them, but it's a size and a half bigger than what Vince wears. And I was like, okay, let's get them. And my parents were like, honey, you can't wear these just yet. And I think it was that clash of I was a kid thinking I knew everything, and that's so not true. And they were just trying to, they didn't want me to look like a clown. They wanted me to be able to enjoy them now, not in a year. But keep in mind, I loved these shoes. So we ended up buying them. Now, at this point, this is sixth grade. At this point, 2 years have gone by. Wait, no. Fourth, fifth, sixth. 3 years have gone by since I wanted Zigs. Okay? 3 years. So then I had to wait about a half a year. So 3.5 years I waited, and my foot finally grew into these Zigs. I put them on. Okay? Now, a lot of people say that when they were young, they weren't able to afford Jordans. So when their parents worked that magic and they had to sacrifice some stuff in the household in order to get their first kid a pair of Jordans, that kid wore them to school, and he felt like he didn't just walk, he soared. He felt like not that he was above everyone else, but he almost as if he found himself. I didn't have that feeling for me. When I look back on it, that's that's how I remember that I felt. That when I wore my Zigs to school that day, I it made me so proud because I knew that I waited for him. I knew that this is my style. I couldn't express to you how happy I was. I mean, it felt like I watched Star Wars for the first time, and that's an excitement that I'm never going to experience ever again because it was so exciting that first time. Well, um, that day I got no compliments, mostly because the Zigs were an outdated model at this point. But guys, don't let people not giving you compliments get you down. It's a matter of self-confidence, and if you have confidence, that's what makes you feel good. And I came home and I'm like, you know what? I just feel so happy. I felt so accomplished. I saved, I waited, I proved to my parents something I really wanted, and then I took them off my feet. I took them off my feet, the Zigs, and I looked down at my foot, and both sides of my foot, my arch and then the other side, were lined up purple. I'm like, oh, I just have to break these in, you know? I mean, it was like late sixth grade. I thought I knew everything. Later, the night rolls by, and I found myself using my old air cast that I used to have, and I put it on my foot. And then when my parents would come by, I would take off the air cast because I don't want them to see that my foot was hurting. But not only was my foot hurting, my foot was killing me. I couldn't move it. It felt so bruised. My foot felt like it shrunk 5 sizes. It felt like I was wearing a shoe 4 times too small for my foot. But this, in reality, it was the same size as my foot. The shoe simply just didn't fit. It's the classic Cinderella thing. The shoe just didn't fit. So a week passed. My parents said, "You know, Vince, you haven't worn your Zigs yet. What's up with that?" And I showed them my foot, and my foot was still bruised. Um, I think at that point, my dad didn't really know what to say, and my mom, I mean, God bless both of my parents. They are one of a kind. I would never want anything more. I mean, they are the best. And I think my mom started to tear up because she knew I saved. She knew that when I bought them, I had to wait an additional 6 months to even wear them for my foot to grow. She knew that I was just trying to establish my own style. I think they felt bad that we couldn't get them as soon as they came out, and that's okay. But it's like all this anticipation just to see it crumble. Um, I was never too upset. I think that says a lot about my character because I'm always optimistic. You know, I always look for, okay, rather than sitting here and complaining, what can I do to fix it? So I ended up getting a different pair of shoes down the line, and that leads me to my second story, but we're running out of time. So that second story, this might be a three-part. That second sneaker story, I'm going to tell you about the next midweek segment. So stay tuned. But what I ended up doing with my Zigs is I ended up giving them to my dad for Christmas because, well, if you think about it, I was in sixth grade, so I couldn't legally work. So I was just getting money off of Christmas and my birthday. Um, so I couldn't really buy my family presents. It was more of what can I have that I can give to them. And to this day, my dad still wears my Zigs, now his Zigs. He wears them religiously. And that is so comforting to me. It is. You guys might not get it. But for me, to see him wear something that I dreamed of for 3.5 years, that means a lot to me. You know, it's like if I were to design a shoe when I were to grow up, and then to to see a celebrity wearing that shoe I designed, you know how crazy that would be? It's like, wow, I feel so accomplished. I feel like my dream is now living on someone else. I think that's so cool. And he doesn't just do it to make me happy. He likes the design of them too. Quite frankly, they look pretty good on him. Um, that's so cool. I love to make other people happy and like to make other people smile. But when they make me happy and smile back, it's all worth it. And that's kind of my little quote for the day. Um, if you like if you if you like to make people smile, or sorry, revert that. If if you like when people smile at you, do your best so you can smile back. Give them a compliment. Do something that will just make their day so much better. If you see someone wearing zigs, hey, maybe just pass a compliment their way. Uh, it was a big part of my life for so long, and I thought it was worth sharing with you guys. And I think it's a pretty good story. So with that, this has been the Vince Midweek segment. Thanks for kicking it with me. I'm gonna catch you guys real soon, next 2 weeks from now, but it'll be soon. Lost my words there. All right, see you guys. Thanks for tuning in.